Hi, welcome to Kotlin Conversations, where we're having conversations with just a few of the amazing speakers here at Kotlin Conf 2023. My name is Harun Wangereka, and I'm speaking with
Harun Wangereka.
Harun, thank you so much for joining us. Let's just get started with the basics. Where are you based and what do you do?
So based in Nairobi, Kenya, Android developer, also like a Google developer expert for Android. Also very active in the local community space in Kenya, and I love a lot of technical writing.
I thought that you're a very busy person. So we're at Kotlin Conf. So I wanted to ask, how did you get started with Kotlin?
Got started like back in 2017 when it was like initially announced for support in the Android side. So back then I was doing Java and also saw the announcement for support in Kotlin, and I was like, it seems like a pretty cool language to adopt. Yeah, so played around with it and also tried to buy a book. I think it was by Antonio, which, so I can't remember the exact title of the book, but it was really helped me to get started in Kotlin and also understand some of the differences between Kotlin and Java and all that. Yeah, so and then decided to fully switch it to using Kotlin in 2018. Mostly it's because most of the things I was trying to achieve in Android, you'll find most of the new resources are in Kotlin, and you're like, how do you convert this resource from Kotlin to Java? And I was like, it's enough of maybe the conversion, so time to adapt to Kotlin and switch to Kotlin.
Yeah, I guess having Google treated as a first-party language helped a lot. And as you said, they started kind of switching everything to Kotlin when they did Kotlin first. So it's kind of like, well, it's funny because, at first it's like, oh, this seems cool and it's optional. But then eventually it's like, well, this is just practical, right? So spending a lot of time with that. So your talk today is on something really fascinating. I think, I'm also an Android developer, and I think a lot of times, especially being kind of like a US-based person, I have a very specific perspective on apps, usually very consumer kind of things like retail apps, like companion apps for like different retail stores or social media. But you're working in a very, I think, really cool and very like different, at least from my perspective, kind of app. Can you talk a little bit about the apps that you presented on at Kotlin Conf?
So at Apollo, we work on two apps. We have like an agent app, and the other one is like an agro-dealer app, which is, so the agent app is more sort of we send tasks to agents to complete during the whole customer journey for Apollo. For example, we have onboarding tasks, we have like product selection task and all that, where they do like a sort of different things. So mostly the app is try to help agents to do work and also get the farmers onboarded on the whole Apollo customer journey. And then the other one is after they are whole onboarded, let's say they like are approved for a loan, they go to their nearest agro dealer where they can be able to get their inputs, which are from Apollo as well. So the app is more like a checkout app for the agro dealers to use. So yeah, those are the two apps that I work on. Mostly they are very optimized to work offline fast and like server-side driven UI, which is what I was talking about yesterday. So that is mostly the two apps that we work on.
Sorry, just to go back a little bit, just generally, what does Apollo do?
Apollo, we try to provide farm inputs and also modern farming to small-scale farmers back in Kenya. We have the inputs and also try to, after they get the inputs, we also try to give them digital advice as well in form of trainings in how best they can use the inputs, how best they can plant and all that. So that is what we do, trying to provide small-scale farmers with a lot of advice, a lot of inputs on credit as well. And then once they are approved and then they harvest, we are able to determine when the repayment should start.
That's really cool. I think a lot of times when we think of mobile application, we think of, very connected, very, more, I guess, dense, regular city areas. But of course, there's a lot of potential for mobile for any kind of application, any kind of field. And obviously, maybe more in more rural areas where connectivity is low, battery, like reason, like there's, it's not like you have like an outlet every 5 feet, like in the city. There's a lot of technical challenges. Can you kind of speak to maybe the the major challenges for you as a mobile developer trying to, like, what are the things that are kind of like top of your list in terms of challenges or things that you need to consider when writing an app such as this?
Top of my list, we have the app has to work offline first. So whatever you do, you have to make sure that the app is working offline first, because in the remote areas, they don't have like internet as compared to maybe the city parts of Nairobi. Yeah, so the app has to really work offline first. And at times it's a challenge, or because I think you don't know when the agent will have like internet, so you have to always at any time have that in mind. I think the other challenge is performance. Yeah, because most of these devices have like 1 GB of RAM, which is quite a slow phone. So whatever you are trying to do, you have to make sure the app is very responsive and also very performant on their agent, because once they open the app and then it's slow for them, they're like, the app is not working. And the thing is, they don't give like that, you can't get like that concrete feedback because they'll just tell you the app is not working, but you have to also think about performance and how to optimize that app for performance. The other challenge is you can't really have fancy animations or fancy UI stuff, because we have to prioritize the app being functional and easy to use for the agents. And we don't have to keep on training them to how to use the app, even if we release new features. Yeah, so everything that we do is normally based around that. Even if you release a feature, the first thing you have to test it is on like a sample phone instead of the emulator, because it's hard to sort of replicate the true scenario on an emulator.
Yeah, do you do any field testing or anything like that as well?
Yeah. So what we do is once you test as a developer with the phone, we are given like the Neon Ray phones. Once you do the testing, we normally have like a close group where you distribute to the agents. I tell them to test the app, get their feedback as well, and also feel without you having to explain anything. And then try to observe how the app is working for like maybe a couple of weeks, and then after that release to all the other agents.
Yeah, so serious user testing.
Yeah.
Obviously, your business is very centered on bringing technology to users in and helping them adopt it. So obviously, you have to be very kind of hands-on, very direct. That's really awesome. I love that idea of like bridging gaps and bringing technology to new places. So thinking of bringing new technologies, like, so your app is got a lot of very cool kind of like architectural choices or technology choices. And I know that you are using Jetpack Compose, obviously, but then you also have a server UI element. I guess my first question around that would be, I've heard some people mention that, and you said performance is important, that maybe initially adopting Compose, they experienced some performance issues, or maybe just, especially since Compose is so new. Did you experience any of that? Was there any time where you might have had troubles? Did you break Compose into the app, or was the app Compose?
The app was initially in Anko, which sort of like allowed us to use like sort of DSL kind of a thing to build the UIs. So for us, when Compose was released, it was something we had in the pipeline. Because it's a similar sort of approach where you have to write UI in like a DSL kind of a way. So the app didn't have like any Compose. We only had Anko views. We started like adapting Compose screen by screen. For example, we have like an info screen, so just migrating that bit to Compose, and also things like detail screen, for example, when you're viewing like a farmer details. So those were like the good candidates to see how Compose is playing around with the fonts. And then the bigger part was now the form, which had like a lot of server-side driven UI. So it was continually having many challenges, because maintaining Anko was quite hectic, because no official support, as it was deprecated like I think 2-3 years ago. Yeah, so that was like the biggest candidate that we saw. This is the next bit that we need to migrate to Compose. And it was like a total 6 to 8 months work, because we are trying to the form bit was first written in 2017, way before I even joined the company. So you can imagine trying to sort of consolidate all that logic that has been built from 2017 till last year, and then trying to migrate that to Compose.
That is really cool. I actually haven't heard often that, migration from Anko to Compose. That's really fascinating.
Yeah.
In terms of the server-side element, how did that come about? Was that always kind of like the plan, or was that something that you kind of migrated to because of through testing and development?
It was always the plan. I think initially the app was like a server-side driven UI from the very start, because we have to ask like a number of questions and also require like a different form of data, like maybe pictures, also GPS outlines, details about the farmer. Yeah, because the situation is most farmers don't have like smartphones. Yeah. They have like feature phones, which we can't develop apps for them now. So we have that agent app who acts like the intermediary between Apollo and the farmer. So, and they also have like similar challenges when they are going to the field to take this information. They will not have like internet and all that. So we had to come up with an app that works in that sort of environment. So from the very start, server-side driven UI was there, and using Anko as well.
That's really cool, like just putting all these different pieces together and making sure that each piece kind of can like serve like kind of almost like I'm trying to say, but more like each have a lot of backups and redundant, like not redundancies, but like just different ways to serve the system regardless of maybe like specific things that you have or don't have, like smartphone or not.
Yeah, and also the biggest factor is we need to, maybe let's say we need more questions in this task. We can't push an update. Like the release process in Play Store can take like some bit of hours.
Yeah.
So we optimize for server-side driven UI, allows us to even update questions, and then on the fly, once they sync, they can be able to get this sort of questions. So I think that was the major benefit that we got with server-side driven UI. We don't have to push new updates in case we need new tasks, new UIs and all that.
That makes so much sense because I guess for folks that aren't familiar with Android app development, updating to the App Store it's not the same as like pushing the web update. Yeah. So there's a lot of things between like approvals, and even when a user gets an update can be very you have no idea. So obviously that makes so much sense to have a server-driven UI where it's just like that. I love that. I want to talk to you about so much more, but really you should be watching How It's Talk to get all these wonderful technical details. I absolutely love the idea that in bringing technology to places where maybe the kind of more some of these modern toolkits and development is you're having to solve so many interesting and very like I guess complex and sophisticated challenges as well. I just want to ask Colin so much, but I shouldn't do that because I should make you go watch the talk, which you absolutely should. And Harun, you do so many different things, but just real quick before we go, I just wanted to give you a chance to talk about DroidCon Nairobi.
Yeah. So I'm part of the organizing team for DroidCon Kenya, which is a yearly conference that we organize. Started in 2018. We had like the third one last year, where we have speakers from different parts of the world coming and also attending from different parts of the world as well. So we also have like another one planned, I think the fourth one coming along later this year. Yeah, so you can always check out droidcon.co.ke to get like the website and also the updates for the conference. Yeah.
Well, obviously, I asked Harun at first, like, was there anything I wrote? And he just had like a list like this long. So obviously, please look for him on the internet. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of amazing technical content to look at. And as he said, please, if you're interested at all, go check out the site for DroidCon Kenya and consider going. I've heard a lot of praise already from different people. Yeah. So yeah, it's something you should check out. Harun, just really quick before I go, if people wanted to find you on the internet, where should they go?
So I'm very active on Twitter and LinkedIn. I'm Harun Wangereka. So if you just search that, you'll be able to get me on Twitter and LinkedIn as well. Try to be responsive in DMs and all that for people who reach out to me regarding community, Android stuff, and also GD, regarding the whole GD process as well. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out. Yeah. And thank you all for joining us again. And we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you for having.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.